proud members of the Fan First Sports Network.
I think they want to get so far away from that Indiana game that they're going balls to the wall. Like Jamari Butler with 3 sacks by himself this week and maybe a strip fumble 6. I think that's the way this game's going to go. It's going to be a meltdown, send Deshaun Foster back to California, just crying in his Cheerios on the plane.
Sort of weird hype pick that he does before every single game. I want to see insert coach's name here, get a beat down, get sent back to insert college name here. You're great at hyping it up.
45, 40, 35, 40, he's gonna go! It's time people feel it!
Red Junkies.
Day by day, he gets better and better! He gets better and better! If we die, we die!
Man, put a child in that. Put him in the aisle.
Bring that trophy back to Lincoln.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But the Tall Boys this week.
We're not recapping a loss right now. We already put that behind us for the week. We are on to UCLA. We are on to bigger, brighter futures, hopefully. Yeah.
We're on to bowl game eligibility.
Bowl game eligibility. Here we go. It's coming in hot. It's coming in hot. This week, I'm giving away the end of the show right now already. That's what I'm picking. I personally think that...
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Well, here's the deal,
shocked.
right?
Are you shocked?
Here's the deal, right? So I kind of thought that heading into the UCLA game, we'd be coming off of an absolute beatdown for a second week in a row. This is I'm talking prior to the Indiana game, I was expecting us to be licking our wounds, really upset, coming off of an emotional downslide after that Ohio State game, not expecting a giant smacking around by Indiana. But I was already expecting this to be a letdown week.
Yep.
We got the smackdown from Indiana, and we had the anger come out against Ohio State. And like I said, we talked about already.
There are no moral victories.
But at the same time, there's some moral victory to what happened in Columbus last Saturday, and riding that momentum, if we are keeping a level head and not, like Rhule said this week, hey, if we go out and we front run and we act like, oh, we got this one in the bag, we're going to suck it up again. But I think we've done that twice this year.
Yeah. If
it happens again, then we need to be checking everybody on the team for bipolar or fucking multiple personality disorder, because...
Well, I mean, it's a lot like what I've been saying for the last couple of years, as far as we are not in the business of style points. We are also not in the business of, being able to look ahead from anybody. Matt Rhule talked about playing the helmet and all those other things. We just need to focus on us. After Hull made that field goal to end the first half against Ohio State,
53-yarder,
and Damon Benning on the radio flat out said right after that field goal goes in, he goes, Nebraska just needs to get out of their fields and just go play football. If they
We've been
can
saying that for 2 years, though.
Well, you're not wrong, but if things truly have changed coming out of that Ohio State game, like Rhule and a bunch of players have been saying, where he finally sees the championship mentality and all of that stuff, this is just go play football. Don't stress out over all of these other things that you can't control. Just go play.
We need to just continue to see progress. I don't want to say that we come out of the Ohio State game a changed team. That's not how this works.
I agree.
You need to keep making progress towards being that more championship mentality team. It's not, from here on out, if we don't do exactly what we should and just go play ball, then they're failing as a coaching staff. That's not true. But as long as we see them continuing to get better at just being out there and playing the game from week to week, that's what I want to see.
Which is also why at the end of, I think it was the post-game press conference, Matt Rhule said, if we follow up this game with a turd in the punch bowl against UCLA, then this game doesn't mean anything.
It means nothing.
Yeah. You got to make
this performance means nothing.
You don't have to get there, but you got to make progress.
Yes. Yeah.
And I know we just talked about it last week after Rhule gave us, or actually on the Ohio State recap, after Rhule gave us that impassioned, stop listening, stop trying to read between the lines what I'm saying. But you guys get anything out of the fact that we haven't heard Ed Foley's name come out of his mouth for a couple of weeks, and then he finally has a good special teams game, and the only special teams person that he mentions is Maher?
Well, no, I don't really take anything from that because previous to the Ohio State game, we didn't do anything on special teams, and I mean that
special teams had been a reason to hide Ed Foley.
Well, no, but I mean that both positively and negatively. We literally just like, you guys stay on the sideline. We're just not even going to talk about you. We're not going to put you on the field for the conversation to even happen. Like it's almost like they just put him behind the curtain and it's like, we're just shh. Like,
if you don't move, maybe they won't know you're
We're
here.
going to forget that part of this game exists.
Yeah, exactly. And then all of a sudden in the Ohio State game, things are somewhat successful because there were some other things that weren't successful in special teams. And now all of a sudden it's like, hey, see, look at these guys. They're really good. Like we've been saying all year. Like I didn't really take anything from it, but I get your point.
Yeah, it's not like he's going to stand up there and be like, I'd like to thank my mom and I'd like to thank all these coaches about having a decent special teams game.
I get that, but
no, he mentioned one guy that was on his mind who he thought did a good job.
That he talked to before the game.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm not trying to, like I said, I'm not trying to poke holes. It just seemed a little bit strange that Ed Foley was a guy that he couldn't stop gushing about and talking about all of last season and through the offseason about his recruiting still and all those things. Things are going to be so much better. Well, they haven't been. It's been terrible. And he's hit him away. He hasn't let him come up to the podium since things have really gone south. He hasn't had anything going on. So I found that interesting. I didn't know if you guys made anything of it. But again, I don't want to get in trouble. I'm not trying to do anything like that.
Like I said, I understand your point. I just didn't really take anything from it.
I do have two things that I thought were very interesting from the press conference this week. Matt Rhule, obviously he delivered another good press conference on Monday, but his was more of just a follow-up and almost closing arguments to his press conference post-game. He didn't really shed any light on anything other than Alvano's still out, and he talked about Jamari Butler a little bit more, just how it seems like he's been dealing with nagging injuries all week, and Tony White kind of talked about it a little bit too. All season, apparently, he's been dealing with something that was nagging him that he finally got back to his normal level, and god damn, that was nice to see.
I thought it was kind of funny that, and again, this might be nitpicking, not trying to start shit, but where Tony White, when talking about Jamari Butler, was like, yeah, that was the Jamari Butler we've been seeing all season, or at least at the beginning of the season. It's like,
and
nope.
not in a game.
maybe in practice, but we haven't seen that on the field. Like when the TV turns on, like I don't know what the hell you're talking about, but hey,
stage fright.
I'm glad he was there. I guess I don't know. It was weird.
Welcome to the game, bud. No, I want to touch on this because it kind of follows up with what I had talked about last week in just a baffling answer from an offensive coordinator.
What do you think of him as a runner?
I didn't know he could run like that, to be honest with you. I've never seen it, but I thought did a really nice job. He switched the ball on the outside arm.
What? Why are you saying those things out loud? Like, if you don't know it, you don't know it. I can't believe that you think that your quarterback can't scramble. So I know you made the point previous to the show. Oh, all these people are freaking out about he didn't know that Dylan Raiola could run. Well, first of all, he hasn't done it in a game. He's just responding. He's just being dramatic. But at the same time, dude, you are a professional making $600,000+ a year to do this job.
Ooh, Satterfield? He's 1.3.
Okay, I said plus.
Okay.
Have a more
than double plus.
Plus.
Have a more professional answer to a question like that. Come on, man.
Can I make a guess? I think he's trying to be funny.
That's fair.
Because he kind of had a smile on his face. Like
everybody
I agree with that.
Everybody talks about how Royal's a little chunky. Teams tried to make fun of him for it at the beginning of the year. He's not a runner.
Yeah.
Like,
no.
That to me didn't feel like, oh, I need to be a professional here because BJ's going to go shit on me. I think you thought he was trying to be funny, and that's why he said it.
And also, I think it was more about the 38 or ish run that he had not the 5 or 6 yard run that he had for like 2 first downs.
The funny
In
thing
the middle.
is that
I think it was
that
more
long
about
run,
that long run that
the
he
long
was
run,
kind of.
We were all like, I didn't know he could
If he
run
was
like
Adrian
that.
That's my
Martinez, that was a
point.
touchdown.
I think he was more kind of like Matt said, trying to be funny. I think he was kind of just needling Dylan a little bit, like, "Hey,
Sure.
I didn't realize he had that in his bag."
Hey,
Like,
maybe do that more often if you could fucking do it.
yeah, exactly.
And I agree.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I thought he was with it. I don't think that I don't believe that he actually didn't know that
Yeah.
Dylan could run.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
You just thought he was being unprofessional?
Everybody, I think that when you're in a situation where you're coming off of a really, really bad week where national news outlets were making fun of you for the fact that you stumbled over your dick and couldn't get out of your own way.
Well, and especially in the Indiana game where he had multiple opportunities and wide open areas to be able to run, and he didn't.
Oh, there's that.
You know,
But my point about that is that when you're coming off of such a bad look for not professionally being able to answer a question, you don't follow it up making jokes and acting like it's the same type of deal. That's where I was going to go with that. I was not going the direction of killing him because I don't believe for a second that he thinks, oh, he can't run.
Yeah.
Even Tom Brady, the slowest 40 time ever for a quarterback
Sack
in
of potatoes.
Yeah, like even he took off and scrambled for 30 yards occasionally.
Yeah.
But it is what
Like
it
4
is.
times in his 20-year career. Yeah.
I was kind of loading you
Yeah,
pre-show for that.
Yeah.
Just kind of gauge where you were, A, but B, because I know that that's where a lot of people are right now, and it doesn't make much sense.
Well, the problem right now is that there are a lot of people, and I'm not trying to say that it's not completely justified. I think it's a little overblown, but I'm not going to say it's not completely justified. I think too many people are basically, if Satterfield is opening his mouth, I'm going to criticize every single syllable that comes out of
They're
there.
looking to hammer him.
Exactly.
Not
I
only
get
that, but Satterfield is an offensive coordinator of a football team. He is not a media specialist.
No. We've been saying that for 2 years since he's been here.
He has always sucked on the podium.
He is uncomfortable
I
at the
get that.
podium.
I get that. But it also begs the question for me when you see every player that they put up on the podium as being able to sound like he's one of Rhule's, why Satterfield can't pull that off.
Because he's an adult.
All the other coaches get up there and do it.
All the other coaches are also adults. They have their own skill sets. Public speaking is not
No.
Satterfield's.
And because
That's
he's the
fair.
offensive coordinator, he has to be up there.
You're not gonna tuck him away like
No.
you can some of your other coaches that we just talked
It's not
about.
like he's the wide receivers coach that
yeah.
doesn't have to get up on the
Yeah.
podium and all that stuff.
Who can talk that way?
Well, he can, but he doesn't. They don't put McGuire up
Yeah.
there during the season. So.
Is it embarrassing? Sure. Am I gonna really hate him for it? No.
No.
I'm gonna save all my hate for him with all the shitty play calls that he makes during a
That's
game.
where I am.
Absolutely.
But that leads me right into this. This was Dylan Raiola when basically he was asked about kind of the screen game and things like that, but it was more about, you think you can get the ball pushed down the field?
Coach Sat gives us the plays to go do it, and as players we have to go out there and execute it. And I know Coach Sat's getting a lot of heat right now, and of his plays that he's calling, and I think that's unfair to him. He can't go out there and make plays and do everything that he's coaching us to do. So as players and as the quarterback of this offense, I take the responsibility for that, and for us to go out there and execute. That's not his fault, and I think we can push the ball down the field, and I think we will.
See, now Raiola just took a big old Captain America shield and put it in front of Satterfield.
Like he tried to.
Deflected all of that shit onto his own back and his own guy's back heading into this week. In my opinion, that's what he just did.
If I'm sorry, Dylan, and I know a lot of people might think if you criticize Dylan Raiola, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. There's been a lot of talk about Dylan Raiola from some really, really stupid people that I don't even want to bring up here. But sorry, Dylan, but if you think that we can push the ball down the field, then why don't you step into a fucking throw and throw it downfield?
Well, I'm
sorry.
So here's
But he
the other side of
doesn't.
that. Right? I agree with you, and we've been asking that for about 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And some people not on the coaching staff, because they've all said he's fine. He's tweaked his ankle once or twice in games. He's gotten rolled over once or twice in games. If you remember back in the Illinois game, it happened. He got rolled up on, and he shakes it off. And we've talked about how he preps his body like Mahomes does. He's supposed to be very elastic and all of those things. And that's all well and good. But if you're not stepping into throws, like you just said, if you're not able to push off that back foot because of an injury that's maybe not really serious, but nagging you enough that it's throwing those balls into question, that might be something that could be looked at. But at the same time, you took that on yourself now. Now, I know you didn't come into Nebraska to check down every play and throw screen passes all day. That's not what you were doing in high school. You go watch any of his high school tape, and he was launching that thing every chance he got.
Yeah, that's why he can try and put that on him and the team as much as he wants. Those play calls are still shit play calls. Like, he shouldn't just have that check down option to go to all the time. Put your check down somewhere else. There are other things you could be doing as a coach to put your team up for success other than just, let's see if our wide receivers can block.
Yeah.
Yes, they should be performing better, and the receivers, 100%. As we've talked before on the show, have to do a better job of blocking on the perimeter. But goddamn, pick a different play. Like, just that's not on the players.
And there are people out there that want to say, well, a lot of the screen passes are being audibled by Raiola, and that's fine. More than likely that's true. But it's up to the coaching staff that are the professionals in the room to tell the 19-year-old that's not one of the audibles anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Take that off his arm. He's not calling plays outside of what his audible package is.
Exactly.
He's not doing that. If you go look at any of the checks, any of that stuff, A, he's not communicating enough to be able to actually change the play. And B, he's a 19-year-old true freshman. He's not doing that. They're not going to allow that to happen.
No.
He might have done it once or twice, and he would have gotten smacked down about it.
But like I said, even if he's doing it every time, and he's audibling into a screen pass, okay. The coaching staff needs to tell him no more.
Yeah. You have to go coach him at that point.
Exactly.
And so props to him for trying to put that on him.
He's trying to be a leader.
That's
he's
totally
doing
fine.
that.
But,
Absolutely.
sorry, Raiola. That's still on Satterfield.
Yep. The last thing that I have, and I actually didn't pull this off, but the last thing that I had from his press conference was he was asked how can you be a leader in a locker room where you aren't one of the guys that's been here losing. Like, I'm paraphrasing at this point, but basically the question was, you came into this fresh this year. You don't have the history of some of these, 5th, 6th year guys that have known nothing but losing and failure. And every time something starts going good, the world crashes down. How do you take the reins as a leader and try and help push some of those older guys past that? And he basically just said, yeah, we got to do it.
Ain't nothing to it but to do it.
Yeah.
Like,
I love his swagger. I love everything about it. I can't wait for year 2 with him. Not because I'm excited for him to be only 1 year away from going off to the NFL, but because I am excited to see what it really looks like with him no longer the new guy, no longer the true freshman, because whether or not he's taking ownership and all those things as a true freshman, you're still a true freshman.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when you are 5-6 years younger than some of the other leaders in that on that team, you're just never going to garner the same level, no matter how light. Like, he could be throwing for 350 yards a game right now, and they're still going to look at him as the kid.
He might be 15 or 16 years younger than Bryce Benhart. I'm not sure.
It's possible. It's possible. Bryce has got a kid coming into college soon, right?
Bryce has been playing college ball since before Raiola was playing high school ball.
Rhule is recruiting Bryce's
That's actually
kid.
really crazy to think about.
That's a
I
true.
hadn't
That's a
thought
true
about
stat.
that. There's 6th-year guys on the team right now that have been playing college football at Nebraska since before Raiola got into high school.
Yeah.
That's insane. Wow. Blew my mind.
No one knows what it means.
I know what it means. He's fucking old.
Wow. Let's get into this game a little bit. I think this is going to be of the games left. In my mind, this is the easiest test. But then again, you go look at the games that UCLA has played so far. They've actually played some teams.
Yeah.
They played Indiana. They played
they had
LSU,
a
Oregon,
fucking
Penn
gauntlet.
State. Minnesota's not a big slough off
And not
team.
just those 4 games, Indiana, LSU, Oregon, and Penn State. 4 in a row.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like every other game. It was literally back to back.
4
to back
teams
to back.
that at some point this year were in the top 10.
Yeah.
Well, currently 3 of them are.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
And one of them's just outside of
He
it.
got fucking hosed.
That's insane. And then you look at Minnesota's not bad. They're not great, but they're not bad.
Yep.
And Rutgers is a good team that they just beat.
Mm-hmm.
And their
Which
offense
that was a confusing game for me.
Well, it was confusing for me too, but their offense also came to life a little bit in that game. Quarterback looked like a little bit like he could do something. I don't want to see that 2 games in a row. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, they haven't been good, but they have, like I said, they have played a hard ass schedule.
Absolutely. You know, some of the people have been talking about, like, if you switch the schedules, what are the records of UCLA for Nebraska's schedule and the record for Nebraska's on UCLA's schedule? And you could make an argument that the record would be the same for the opposite team. Like, I don't know how much better Nebraska's record would be than what UCLA's record is now.
There maybe be a game difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's a tough fucking schedule to do. And especially with a first-year head coach, not just first-year head coach at the school, but literally a first-year head coach at Deshaun Foster, and trying to completely revamp their team with Eric Bieniemy as the offensive coordinator, having their defensive coordinator, who did really well last year, go to their arch rival at USC. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that they're doing well, because they're really not. But what more could you ask for with that type of a schedule so far this season?
I mean, you could ask to beat Minnesota.
I mean, you could, but at the same time, Minnesota's also beat USC. I mean, they're not a total slough team this year. They're better than they were last year, in my opinion. And you got a lay-down game against Hawaii that you barely pulled off, and then you got your dick punched the next week by Indiana, or 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks later, because you played in week 0 against Hawaii. But like I said, they picked up that win against Rutgers, and all of a sudden they look like a different opponent than I expected to see rolling in here, just absolutely limping and beaten into Lincoln. We're going to get a little bit more of a fight out of them than I expected. Something that I think, just from me looking at things, super high level, and I want to ask Jed about this, a little bit more of a breakdown, but the rush side of their defense looks a little bit scarier than I expected to see. They're currently ranked 5th in the Big Ten, which is right behind us at 4th. They're 13th nationally, only giving up 98.6 yards a game in rushing.
Which is wild when you look at the teams they've played.
Yeah.
LSU has a great running game. Penn State has a great running game.
Indiana's wasn't bad. Beat us up.
Rutgers, great running game.
Yeah. So that's a side of the ball that we kind of got going last week, and it'll be interesting to see if we can keep that going this week.
Well, but the thing is like, literally their run defense is the only good thing about that defense.
Yes.
Because their pass defense is terrible.
They're 99th in the country in scoring. They're giving up 29 points a game.
They give up a lot of touchdowns. I think it's 21-6 for touchdowns and field goals. They've had 27 trips to the red zone for their opponents. They've given them 21 touchdowns, 6 field goals.
So what you're saying is maybe this week Raiola can make Satterfield look good with his play calling.
I mean, maybe, but
we could see a lot of things merge here.
We are also very bad in the red zone, so I don't know. Like, we'll see.
Yeah, in the red zone on offense, we're 128th in the nation to their 46th, but red zone defense, they're 118th in the nation.
Yeah. Out of 134 schools.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's not good. They're giving up a score 93.1% of the time.
Yes.
That's rough. That's rough.
Yeah.
Rough. But, Jed, what are we looking for on the defensive side of the ball?
I mean, Jesus.
Like we said, they're not very good, but on the rush defense, they're good. Is that a line thing, or have they got linebackers for days?
Well, and the weird thing is like, it's not like they have a shit ton of tackles for loss. They don't have a ton of sacks. I mean, they're just kind of like, they're last in the conference in sacks with 10. It's not like they're really, I almost would equate this to, what was, there was one of the teams earlier this year where I talked about how they're not flashy, but they're effective. It might have been the Illinois defense going into the Illinois game. I don't remember what it was. Yeah. Where they had like 4 tackles for loss and 4 sacks. And it's like, okay, but their defense is still very effective. I'm not going to sit here and say that UCLA's defense is very effective, but at least against the run game, they are. So, if we can figure out a passing attack in a, not to spoil what you like to say at the very end where you talk about the weather doesn't look like it's going to be that great. No. So for a passing attack, but
we've also not let the weather really affect our passing game, with the exception of the crazy win in the Rutgers game.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's going to be something that we're going to look to too much, but I'm really, really, really hopeful that we're going to be able to at least establish a little bit more of the run like we saw in that third quarter against Ohio State. On the offensive side of the ball, are we basically putting this on the shoulders of their quarterback? Because they're 133rd in the country, averaging 64.6 yards per game rushing the ball.
Yeah,
They're bad.
I don't hate Ethan Garber as their quarterback. He's not that good, but I don't hate him. I think he's got some talent. I don't know that they have. I remember going into the season, I had heard from on a few different shows previewing UCLA that just talent-wise, as far as the wide receivers for UCLA, they're like in the top 3 to 4 in the Big Ten. Every time I heard it, I was just like, wait, huh? But I heard it a couple of different times, so I was like, well, I mean, they're going to know more than I will, so okay. But honestly, it looks like the biggest weapon that they have is their running back, TJ Harden, where he's their leading rusher and he's their second leading receiver.
He's barely their leading rusher, but he's 180 yards on the year.
The point is that they throw the ball to their running back coming out of the backfield. Yeah. I guess that's more what I was trying to get at.
And selfishly, I hope he gets hurt. Not anything serious, but just enough to take him out of the game because I want to hear Mr. Berger's name quite often.
Burger?
I just want to hear Berger a lot.
Burger up the middle. Burger got grinded.
Berger got tackled for a loss a bunch of times.
Obviously, it's not like they run the ball a lot. They're not very efficient. They're good at stopping the run, but rushing offense, they're dead last in the Big Ten. So
yeah, they're dead last. What did you say? There's 130. What? How many?
134.
Yeah, so they're second to last in rushing in the country, in the fucking country, bro. We're 102nd, and we average more than double what they do. That's insane.
They are. I'm looking at it right now. They are the only team in the Big Ten that averages less than 100 yards per game rushing the ball.
That's insane.
Because number 17 is Minnesota, and they average 108 per game.
Oh my God, that's 44 more yards a game than UCLA.
UCLA is at 64.5. Ouch! So they're not even close.
No, they're not even in the same realm. Okay, running backs.
I was more just bringing up TJ Harden as more of just the weapon that he is
guy,
coming out of the backfield, catching a lot of passes.
Yeah, it looks like Garber is probably, I don't know. He kind of matches what Dylan Raiola has done so far this year. 64.9% completions, 1,484 yards. What's Raiola at right now? Just shy of 1,700? 1,600 something?
1,744.
Yep. 1,744, okay. So, yeah, I've just got UCLA stats pulled up right now. And
Dylan's played 2 more games than Garber's had because UCLA's only played 7. We played 8, and Garber sat out. I think it was the Penn State game. So as far as, if you're just looking at pure yards, if you want to do yards per game, Garber's is averaging more than Dylan Raiola as far as passing yards.
Got it.
Less touchdowns, more interceptions.
Yeah.
Relatively similar. But again, you look at the defenses that he's had to play against.
Absolutely. As far as raw numbers, though, it's pretty much a wash.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm looking forward to what these questions are going to look like because I just don't. It's so difficult to get a read on what we're going to see from UCLA because of how tough of a schedule they've played.
It's kind of the opposite of what we were saying about Indiana. We thought Indiana hadn't played anybody yet.
And I feel like UCLA's gotten swiftly kicked in the dick by the Big Ten for their. This is worse than our first Big Ten schedule.
They were literally welcome.
Well, and again, it's
and by welcome, give me all your lunch money.
You just throw in LSU as well.
Well, and this was the conversation going into the season. It wasn't just that their schedule was tough. It was also the travel that they have.
Yeah.
They are flying fucking everywhere.
They rolled into that schedule. Yes, they had a bye week, but they had to go to Hawaii for their first game.
Yeah, they traveled to Hawaii.
They went to Hawaii.
Yeah,
shut up.
We're talking about the travel.
Yeah.
Not
travel to start your year. Well, Hawaii is practically a wash.
But give me 2 weeks there prior. I'll be all right.
That's what I'm saying. You get there early. You get to leave late because you got an extra week off.
Yeah.
No, you can't really count Hawaii in there.
But you still do.
Yeah.
It's still a long
time
flight.
On a plane is time on a plane.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's roll into the questions, man.
Well, no, hold on.
Oh, shit. Hold up.
Because this is another thing that we kind of brought up before we started recording. So Sam McEwen put out a tweet this morning.
Oh, right, Sammy.
And he said,
Come on, Sam.
he basically declared, and he said, agreed as far as a question. Does everybody agree? Is UCLA a top 3 helmet in the Big Ten?
No.
Come on, Sam.
No one knows what it means.
That's such a confusing question because what the fuck? First of all, you have Ohio State, you have Michigan, you have Nebraska,
USC.
I'm just at original, like,
because I think USC is number 1.
Prior to this year, Big Ten schools.
I love USC's helmet.
I would actually, like, if I was going to just go with most iconic, I would go with probably Michigan. Actually, at number
Michigan.
1.
If you want to go most iconic, yeah, Michigan's is.
Well, I'm just saying, like, wasn't that the question?
We just said top 3 helmet in the Big Ten.
Okay,
They
well,
didn't
Top
say
3 in what?
they
Most
didn't say-
boring?
I just don't understand. Like, UCLA, how is that? Like, why? Because they're also gold, like Notre Dame. Like,
Who has cooler helmets because they're at least shiny gold and not like poop gold?
I just don't see it. You got Ohio State. You've got, I mean, fuck, the all white Penn State helmet is super fucking iconic too. Like, I guess I got a question how you're gonna rate them out.
The Penn State helmet is boring as fuck. But Oregon's
helmet is cool as shit.
Well,
it's not
different
iconic,
every week,
though,
but it's
because
cool as shit.
fucking old. But that one would be a good one. Fuck, I mean,
I will say,
I just don't know what he's getting at, I guess.
I will say, if I put USC way up there, I kind of almost have to put Michigan State up there too, because I just like the Trojan on the side of the helmet. But I like the color scheme of USC more than I like just the green and white.
you're a McDonald's fan.
Michigan
I get it.
Okay, I know I have McDonald's over
Red
here,
and gold. I'm making
No,
a
I
joke
know.
about red and gold. No, I'm with you on that. USC is definitely up there. I would not count Michigan State as being up there.
It's definitely a top 3 helmet for the Big Ten in the state of California.
Yeah, in the state of California.
It's not number 1, but it's top 3 for sure.
California.
No, I mean, like, I love UCLA's jerseys, and especially when they pull out the powder blues.
The powder blues. That's one
Their
of the best
jerseys,
jerseys.
their jerseys as a whole is amazing.
That's
If
why I
you're
love the
just looking
Chargers
at the
went back to
helmets,
that.
But
But if
like,
you're-
it's a great color scheme for like a newborn
But if you're
boy's
just
bedroom.
looking at the helmets,
Like,
come on, man. Like,
yeah.
no.
Yeah, no, I got to put a big old poo poo on that, and I'll tell you what. Right now, 2 weeks ago, we saw the best helmet that's been used in the Big Ten in a long ass fucking time. Those Illinois,
the old school
looks
Illinois.
like leather. So a lot of people, I don't know if a lot of people know this. Those were actually hand painted by a dude in Nebraska.
I did not know that.
Every single one of those was hand painted by this guy in Nebraska. So that is not a mass production thing that you're going to see like other teams start to adopt unless somebody rips it off and they start doing it that way. But yeah, that was a dude from Nebraska that did that.
One of my really good friends, Mike, you're a fucking idiot. He
One of your really good friends.
yeah, that's why I say it.
Is this tighter or looser, Mike?
Loose Mike.
Loose, Mike.
Yeah.
Got it.
He's an asshole. That's why we're friends. He thought those were the worst fucking helmets he's ever seen.
You're
and I'm
confusing,
like, you're
bro.
dumb.
Yeah, you're
Like-
confusing.
No, those were amazing.
Those were okay. So when I saw him like announce those, like when they put it up on Twitter, I'm like, those are fucking cool. Like that looks cool. But then seeing it live time on the field, they looked like leather helmets.
Yeah.
Like they looked legit as fuck.
They looked better than the Nebraska ones that they tried to pull off against Illinois a couple of years ago.
Those
Yeah,
look terrible.
those
Those,
look
look
like diapers.
cartoonish.
They looked like they had a helmet with a jock strap on it.
Yeah.
yeah,
like that's-
they were cartoonish.
Yeah, they were bad.
These were cool as fuck.
They were.
And they were definitely better than UCLA's helmet.
Yeah. So Sam, no.
Yeah, no.
The answer
I
is
did-
no, not even close.
I heard
You're
that.
welcome to come on the show and debate us.
I heard that a couple of times on the radio today. A couple of different shows talked about it, and they brought it up, and I was just like, "What?"
Let me give you an alternate answer to yes or no. They're a fringe top 10. How about that?
So we need, we got the fuck yeah button. Can we find somebody that says fuck no?
Fuck no. We'll rip that one out
Yeah.
for sure. Let's get into the questions, man. Unless
All right.
either one of you had anything else.
Nope.
Is there anything exciting that we know about UCLA?
Well, I guess I could ask you those two questions that I talked about at the beginning of the show.
Do it.
Are you
What?
still going to say it?
What?
Never mind.
I don't know what this means. Whatever that.
No one knows what it means.
All right. So UCLA, our opponent. First question is, what is the first thing when I say UCLA that comes to your mind?
Basketball.
I'm going to say with my answer earlier, just cheerleaders. They had good cheerleaders there in LA.
USC's cheerleaders are much better than UCLA's.
I'll take them both.
The sweater and everything.
It's the helmet. It's the helmet.
It's the helmet.
I would say basketball for me.
Yeah.
It's just kind of.
I just hate college basketball.
Is that Wooten?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
John
Wooden.
Wooden. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So
Obviously, I'm not a college basketball guru.
you threw me off. I was like, yeah. Wait, no. Sorry. So what
or that they play in the Rose Bowl. Like
I was
those
gonna
are
say,
those are the two things.
that would
to
be
me.
my other thing. If we wanted to go to football, I'd say obviously the Rose Bowl. So either athlete or coach for UCLA, who's the first that comes to your mind?
Chip
Would it-
Kelly.
Okay. I was gonna say, would it be Wooden? Like, I mean, it's kind
Well,
of.
if we're talking football, it would be
No.
Chip Kelly because I got to be dead honest with you. You told me that question
I
before
said
the game.
athlete or coach. I did not specify
Got it.
in sport. So
You said that before the game or before the show, and I said Marshawn Lynch because I thought he went to UCLA and not Cal.
yeah, he said Marshawn Lynch, and I go, nope. He went to Cal.
Honestly, I kind of liked it as an answer.
I did too. It was hilarious.
If Marshawn Lynch went to UCLA, that'd be the answer for sure. Skittles.
Matt, you got anybody?
No, I don't.
They're just
don't
not
care about UCLA.
Yeah, they haven't been
That's
a
fine.
relevant football program for me to even think about forever.
Most people would bring up a basketball player. You know, just Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Well,
That-
yeah, that's
Bill
fair.
Bill Walton.
Yeah,
you know,
if I was thinking basketball, because we're talking football, like the only other one that I would probably bring up is Jim Mora.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to be great there. It was supposed to be a slam dunk hire, and he fucking shit the bed for, 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, I'm looking up players because I have to. Like
Who's their most popular football player that's ever come out of there?
Jonathan Ogden.
Troy Aikman.
No. Jonathan Ogden is literally one of the best left tackles in the history of college
Fine. I
and
said
pro.
most well known is Troy
Popular.
Aikman,
Yeah, popular Troy
Okay.
Aikman.
and it's not even close because
Well, yeah.
you had to tell me who Jonathan
Yeah.
Ogden was.
Jonathan Ogden is literally one of the greatest NFL left tackles of all
Totally
time.
fine.
Not
Oh,
in
hang
my
on.
wheelhouse.
Jackie Robinson. I didn't know
Yeah,
that one.
I was going to say, as far as athletes, I would either say Jackie Robinson.
He's definitely more well known than Troy Aikman.
Yeah.
But a famous football player, probably him.
Yeah, football-wise,
Football-wise, probably Troy Aikman.
well, yeah, again, I would say,
Unless you want to pull another weird name out of your ass.
well, I can. JJ Stokes is the guy that I think of right away. But
He's not even on this list.
he was a wide receiver, got drafted by the 49ers. He was like the number 10 overall pick.
He was clearly really good.
Well, most well known for getting spit in the face by Bill Romanowski.
Randy Cross.
Yeah.
Oh, Romanowski.
Yeah. Yeah, I probably would have said somebody either like Jonathan Ogden for myself, JJ Stokes, and Jackie Robinson, which I know Jackie Robinson does not belong with those other two guys.
Not even close.
So I apologize to Jackie Robinson in and of itself. But I'm just saying.
Let's jump into the questions.
All right, question number 1. This was kind of a question that we probably should have had last week. We just, we dropped the ball on this one because of the topic of conversation that was all of last week. Yards per play for Nebraska's offense. Nebraska averages 5.3 per play, 4.06 in the last 3 games. UCLA allows 5.6. Nebraska has gone over 6.0 3 times against UTEP, Northern Iowa, and Purdue. Basically the 3 worst teams that we've played. UCLA's bad. So I'm going to put it at 6. Yards per play for Nebraska's offense.
Oof. See, here's the thing. I'm gonna go ahead and jump on this one. If that's all
That's
right.
fine. I don't have a good thought on this. So
So here's the thing.
I'm gonna hear you out.
I
I'm gonna
don't-
pick the opposite.
Just like I thought I was so convinced that Indiana, like Matt already said, wasn't any good because they hadn't played anybody. I'm convinced that I have no fucking idea who UCLA is because they've played such a tough schedule.
I agree.
So I'm not going to answer this question based on what I think of UCLA because I have no fucking idea there. I'm going to answer this question based on how Dylan Raiola took it on his back and his boys' back that they are going to produce this week. Regardless of what we think about Satterfield, we should be criticizing them. It's execution. It's not about the play calling. Cool. Prove it. Until then, I'm saying no.
Okay. So
I'm going with prove it like Jed would say.
Okay. Matthew.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go no as well for a couple of reasons. One, as we talked about, they have a pretty damn good rush defense.
Mm-hmm.
We do not have a good rush offense. That's going to drag our yards per play down, especially if we try to make an emphasis out of running the ball again.
Which I think we will.
Along with that, until I see something different, I'm not going to expect us to push the ball down the field that much, and I'm still going to expect a bunch of screen passes that get blown up in the backfield. So I'm going under 6.
Negative plays. What'd you say that stat was after the Ohio State game? Out of 11 screen plays, there were 28 total yards produced, and 23 of them were on, or 24 of them were on.
It was 11 passes behind the line of scrimmage.
Okay.
So they weren't technically all screens.
That's fair.
They were just technically all bad.
28 yards out of 11 plays.
Yeah.
But like 23 or 24 of it, that was on 2 plays.
2 of them.
The rest of them were all bad.
2 of them were jet sweeps and netted 21 yards.
Okay, I take it back.
There you go.
So
Because I don't mind the jet sweeps at all. It bothers me that those are counted as a pass. Outside of that, they're fucking awful.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping you guys were going to go with the over on this one so I could pick up a point. But I'm going to go with the under. So
Drop an entire point on this question and I consider it.
Yeah. To 5?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, because Nebraska does average 5.3 per play, and UCLA allows 5.6. So
yeah, no, it's not.
I wasn't going to go down to 5.
Screw it. I'm going over. You talked me into it. I'm going over.
Why?
Bring on the hope. I filled the hope.
Okay, hold on.
No,
I took it. I'm taking the over.
What makes you switch that though? What did I say that made you switch that?
Because I think that we're going to have an outbreak on the offensive side of the ball, like we saw from the defense last week.
He likes losing.
He is,
and I have a lot of points to catch up to make up.
You have a lot.
I almost have to go opposite of what you guys do.
That's a good betting strategy.
I've done it so far.
Question number 2. Since we suddenly know how to make field goals, I have to add this question in. Field goals made by Nebraska, 2.5.
2.5. Why?
Under.
Okay, what if I do 1.5?
How
That's a
about
better
just a
question.
half? How many games have we not kicked a field goal in
I
this
was
year?
going to, hold on. So Nebraska has made 2+ field. I'll switch it to 1.5. That's fine.
Switch it to 1.5, and I'll switch my answer. I'll take over on 1.5.
John Hull was 1 for 6 coming into the Ohio State game.
So there was a part
Wasn't
of me.
necessarily his fault.
So okay, I understand.
You're right.
I understand 2.5 was high. But I also think 1.5 is too low. I almost put this number at 2 for the push option. I know how much you hate the push option, but
I mean, I like it for some things.
Yeah. Nebraska has made 2+ field goals in a game 6 times since 2001. 3 field goals made in 2 games since 2001.
Yeah, no, they should be 1.5 should be the number.
So 1.5, that's fine.
1.5 should be the number.
The number is now 1.5.
Over.
Okay.
Under.
Totally fine. And I think both are honestly reasonable. I could see us making 2. I could honestly, if we are that bad in the red zone this week, I could see us making 3. But I could also not see us kicking a field goal in this game.
I was gonna say here's my question to you guys before Jed answers this. How much of this game do you think is going to be won in the first quarter and a half? Because I could see if Nebraska gets up by maybe let's say 10 to 14 points early, it's going to turn into a feeding frenzy on both sides of the ball, and they're going to run away and just it's that sweet release of, oh my God, we're doing it. We're finally getting over the hump. We got back to a bowl game. That's a monkey that you can literally feel ridding yourself of middle of a quarter, and they just turn this into kind of a blowout. I could see that happening in this game.
When have we done that in the last 10 years?
I don't see that, but I hope for that, but I don't see that.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I have other wet dreams. That's ridiculous. It's not going to happen.
Dad listens to the show. Don't go any further.
I'm sorry. You said over?
No,
Or
he's
un-
taking under.
Okay.
I'm
I'm
taking
going
over.
under.
Yeah, I switched this up. So
I'd be shocked if we kick more than one field goal in this game.
I could very easily see this not kicking a field goal in this game. But I don't think that's going to happen.
I'm going to go with the over just because, honestly, I just don't trust our offense to finish. Like, I know we just got done talking about Matt's wet dreams, but we can't finish. So, like, I just,
Yikes. It's not good if you can't finish, guys.
Question number 3, defensive takeaways by Nebraska. I probably have this number at too high as well. I don't know. I waffled between, again, 1.5 and 2.5. So Nebraska's had at least one takeaway in every game this year, the longest streak since the end of the 2021 season and into the 2022 season. UCLA has 12 turnovers. Nebraska has 12 takeaways, so it's basically a wash in that aspect. I guess I'll just ask you 2.5, 1.5?
I'd say 1.5 again.
Okay. I got no problem with that.
Because again, getting up to 3 turnovers is just.
I agree.
Especially-
You're talking about us taking it away 3 times.
Nebraska defensive takeaways.
Yeah.
1.5.
Does that count if they like muff a punt on special teams?
Turnovers, turnovers.
Basically, yeah.
Well, you're
I
technically,
get no.
you're
I get.
technically on offense
I get
at
your
that point. So that's,
I get your point. It's especially yeah. UCLA turnovers.
It's at 1.5. I'll take the over.
Okay.
I will take the over as well.
I could see some fumbles in this game.
You said over. Why did I just?
I'm gonna guess we're gonna see another pick, maybe 2 picks.
I think we're just gonna get one, so I'm gonna take the under. I think we continue the streak, but I don't know that we get more than one. Question number 4, Nebraska passing yards, 249.5. Will we get to 250? Nebraska averages 230 per game. UCLA allows 268. Nebraska has gone over 250 4 times. UCLA has allowed over 250 4 times.
If we're gonna get over the 250 mark again this year, it's gonna be this week. I'm taking the over.
Okay.
I'm gonna go over as well. Their pass defense is just plain bad.
Yes.
118th in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we're gonna do something about that.
And like I said, if Raiola really wants to put it on his back to make Satterfield look better, now's the time. Get out there and pass the fucking ball better.
Pass the fuck. He talked about stretching the field. Then again, fucking step into one and stretch the fucking field.
Yeah. And the way that I've answered the questions to this point, I have to go with the over on that one.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jed?
I'm going with the over as well. I just
That one feels like a pretty safe bet, honestly, this week.
it does, but again, we haven't thrown the ball very well.
You said it at 249.5?
Yeah, basically 250.
Yeah. I like the over on that. I'd like that to be closer to the 270, 275 range.
Okay, question number 5. UCLA third down conversion percentage.
They have not done well in the season.
No. Nebraska allows 34.6%. The last 3 games, Nebraska has allowed 24.2. UCLA converts 36.9, which is basically the same as what we allow. The last 3 games, however, they are 46.3. So I'm kind of just thinking, let's just put it at basically right in the middle of what we allow and they convert, 35%.
Under.
I'm also going to go under.
Under. I think our defense has a great game this week.
Okay.
And if they don't, my concerns about our defense will continue to exist.
Yeah.
So big time under on this one. I think we stay right around that 25% mark.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, and I don't know, do you have a question on their 4th downs at all?
I do not.
They're like 7 for 8 on 4th downs.
Damn.
They're pretty efficient about getting the ball across the line if they feel comfortable doing it. So if they're close on 4th downs, they might go for it, and they have a decent chance of getting it.
I understand. I'm going to go with the under as well. I kind of think that maybe the 35 might be a little high, but based on the numbers and who they've played and who we've played and the last couple of games in the season. But the numbers make sense for me to put it at 35, so I'm just going to leave it at
No,
that.
I think 35 makes sense.
In the Big Ten, they're 16th. They're 99th overall.
Yeah.
On offensive third downs.
Yeah.
On defensive third downs, they went ahead and ranked themselves tied on their rushing offense. They are 133rd in the country, giving up 54.9%.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
Yeah, they're not good. Question number 6. Nebraska defensive sacks, 2.5. Nebraska averages almost 3 per game. UCLA allows 2.5 per game.
I'm going over. I'm going over primarily because of the fact that I also, like I said, I think we're going to get up early in this game, and that is going to require him to try and hold on to the ball a little bit more and throw it downfield. And it's going to create turnover opportunities, and it's going to create sack opportunities.
What'd you put this number at?
2.5.
Yeah, I'm taking the over 2.
Okay.
We might hit that over in the first half.
I'm going to gamble a little bit and take the under, only because they also get rid of the ball immediately.
Do
They like quickly. Again,
He waits until we answer to give us the rest of the
well,
details.
of course.
Mhm.
Of course. But that's also part of
Doesn't
that.
change my
The
answer.
whole situation of them throwing the ball to the running backs a lot. They just like to get the ball out of the quarterback's hand really fast.
Yeah.
So, and I understand, 3 might sound a little, the 2.5. I
It
kind of
just sounds very doable for our defense.
I agree with you. That's why I said I'm going to gamble a little bit and take the under on that one.
Also, if we're going to get all the way to our 40 mark, which
Mm.
I think we are, we're going to have to get some in this game.
We're on pace, so we're good.
But we're about to start playing some better offensive lines.
Mhm. Question number 7, UCLA rushing yards, 69.5.
Nice. And a half.
UCLA averages 64 per game. UCLA had 93 yards versus Penn State, who also has a very good run defense. Nebraska allows 96 per game. And basically, as far as right around this number, both teams, whether it's defense or offense, it's basically 50-50 as far as the games where they've gone under or over this number. So 69.5.
BJ?
UCLA
I'm
rushing
going
yards.
under that nice mark.
And I'm going over the nice and a half mark.
I'm simply like, I think that everything that the defense did last week is going to be compounded this week, and they're going to get to sit on the sideline a little bit more because we're going to really roll through some longer drives, hopefully some longer drives that we're going to finish.
I'm doing my best not to compile what we did last week to what we are going to do this week because we have not been consistent
Well, and that's
for many,
I was
many
going to
games.
ask,
What's
what's
kinda
the
why-
most consistent thing you can tell me about this football team?
That's my
The
point.
inconsistency.
that's why I'm taking the over
Yeah.
is because a big reason that we've had such up and down games is because of the play of our defense,
Mhm.
specifically in the run game.
Yep.
So I could easily, I don't think they're going to have a phenomenal game by any means,
No,
but I could see them
absolutely
getting
not.
80 yards pretty easily.
Yep.
And it's on our defense to straighten that out and play some consistent football.
Also, because I took the under on the sacks, I'm going to take the over on rushing yards. Question number 8, who will have more all-purpose yards? So that is going to be running, receiving, and special teams, return games. Ja'Cory Barney or TJ Harden? Harden, the running back for UCLA. Harden is averaging 59.7 per game. He's the leading rusher in the second in receiving. Barney averages 63 per game. So it's basically the same for both guys. So who will have more all-purpose yards, Barney or Harden?
I'm going with Barney.
Yeah, looking at the way that their pass defense is just fucking awful, I'm also taking Barney.
I was just saying it because Matt thinks he's going to get hurt.
What?
You want to hear about Berger?
Oh, Harden.
I see what you're saying.
yeah.
I don't think he's gonna get hurt.
Matt jinxed the kid.
It's not that I want him to get hurt.
Matt's
It's that
just
I
not allowed
don't
to
want him
knock
to
on
play.
You're just not allowed to knock on any wood between now and the game.
Oh, geez, that's a
Yeah,
long 3 days.
I'm real shut down about that. What will I ever do?
Now, I understand your point as far as
Yikes.
the passing defense for UCLA. That's not very good. But the thing is, we don't throw downfield to Barney.
We
will.
don't need to.
I'm just saying,
He's pretty solid at yards after catch.
yeah.
I think I really think you're going to see in this week's game, you're going to see some downfield attempts for Lloyd and for Barney. They're starting. They've tried to run a couple different things the last couple of weeks, get those dudes out in space and get them the ability to get behind. He just hasn't let it go for him.
Also, now that we apparently have a running quarterback,
Yeah,
their ends aren't going to get up the field quite as fast, and we're going to have a better opportunity to run some of our sweeps that we were getting at the beginning of the year. I think.
So I'm only going to take Harden because I took the over on the rushing yards for UCLA. And I just think that with the short passing game that we throw to Barney, we'll play more in the factor of UCLA's rush defense, which is pretty good, that they might tackle him more around the line of scrimmage because it's basically a run play.
Telling you, I think you're going to see a lot from Berger this week. A lot from Berger.
that burger bitch.
Question number 9, UCLA points scored. This might give away some of our predictions as far as the end of the thing, but one of the big things is they're averaging 17 points per game, and what they've been doing so far this season with, if I can figure out where the fuck I put this for scoring.
They haven't scored over 17 points until last week against Rutgers.
Exactly.
And they've only hit 17 twice. 13, 13, 17, 13,
Yes.
11, 17. And then they had this outburst of 35 points last week.
Exactly.
Must not have been windy.
So, so they average 17 points per game. Nebraska allows 18 points per game. And granted, that 18 points per game is weighted heavily by giving up 56 against Indiana.
Yeah.
So I'm putting this at 13.5 for UCLA points scored.
Essentially, do they score 2 touchdowns?
Yes.
No, they don't this week.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the exact same answer of Matt. I actually, I know I called it earlier in the season. I did, and I was wrong. It's been a long time since we saw a goose egg up.
Wait, you were wrong on a pick?
Since we saw a goose egg up in Memorial Stadium at the end of a game. I want to see that this week. Like
Do
I
I
said,
want to see it? Yes.
You don't want to talk about compounding what the defense did last week. I think they want to get
to talk about it.
No, I don't.
They just haven't shown it.
I think
So
they want to
that's-
get so far away from that Indiana game that they're going balls to the wall. Like Jamari Butler with 3 sacks by himself this week and maybe a strip fumble 6. I think that's the way this game's going to go. It's going to be a meltdown, like send Deshaun Foster back to California, like just crying in his fucking
This is
Cheerios
the
on the plane.
same sort of weird hype pick shit that he does before every single
I
game.
know.
I want to see insert coach's name here, get a beat down, get sent back to insert college name here. You're great at hyping it up, but fuck.
75-3.
Everyone loves it. Everyone loves it.
We're gonna break the college record for scoring. They're gonna have negative points. I could see them. I could see them with 4 field goals in this game,
Yeah.
but I don't see them scoring a bunch of points.
Not 5 field goals.
Definitely not 5 field goals.
Yeah, I kind of have to go with the under on this one. As much as I kind of think that they're going to get to 14 or 17 at the most. Yeah, I got to go with the under on this one. So my final question number 10 that I just added. Dylan Raiola passing touchdowns. He has not thrown a touchdown since September. Will he get off that schneid? UCLA has allowed 14 touchdowns this year. What?
No one knows what it
I'm
means.
laughing at PJ's face when you said schneid.
You
The
don't-
fuck does that mean?
You've never heard get off the schneid?
No one knows what it means.
Like everybody says that.
No one knows
Okay.
what it means.
Are you Googling
You
schneid?
gotta Google schneid now.
A losing streak, especially in sports.
Well, I wonder, like, almost as if it's a word.
A slang term. This is a professional show, Jed.
It's not necessarily
ESPN guys say it all the time.
correct,
People.
use of the word, but
Mm-mm.
okay, we'll go with it.
Wow.
Just give me a hard
No, I
time.
know. I'm not going to say, is he going to throw a touchdown pass? Because he will.
He will.
So 1.5.
1.5. Make it 3.5, and I'm in.
Shocker.
On the schneid. I'm still lost.
Well, here's the thing.
What was your question?
Let's go right back to this real fast. I'll give you some deeds real fast. They're 118th in the nation in pass defense. In total scoring defense, they're 99th. They're giving up 29 points a game. Dylan Raiola is going to throw for at least 4 touchdowns in this game. It is going to be an absolute mop-up disaster of a day for anybody.
I get
in
so
powder
nervous.
blue and gold.
I get so nervous when you talk like this because it just makes me feel like it's going to go the opposite way.
One of these times I got to be
you,
right.
No, you don't, and that's the thing.
I'm like
just
Max Kellerman.
No,
I'm like Max Kellerman calling Tom Brady's retirement for like 7 straight seasons.
I don't want 7 straight seasons of you being excited about games and then being let down. Stop talking this way.
It's literally happened though. Seven
Be
years.
negative for a while so we can be on a win streak.
I understand that with the opponent that we're playing, and you can rattle off all the passing defensive stats that you want to from UCLA, and I understand hearing 1.5 is super low. We don't score touchdowns. We don't throw touchdowns. We haven't for a fucking month. So, yes, should I probably put this at 2.5? Probably. But because we don't put the ball in the goddamn end zone, I'm going to leave this number at 1.5.
I still don't know what the question is because I'm just looking at get off the schneid on my laptop right now.
I'm shocked that you guys have never heard that.
I'm shocked
No one
that
knows
you're
what it
as
means.
old as you are.
People say it all the fucking time. Dylan Raiola passing touchdowns, you young fuck.
Under. 1.5 under.
No, I mean fuck no.
Jesus, why?
Under 1.5?
Yes.
You're crazy.
He hasn't thrown one. He hasn't schneided one in October.
So what? Dowdell's going to run for 4 touchdowns?
He will have No,
They're going to
Dowdell,
score 35
Dowdell
plus.
will hop over the line for 2 touchdowns.
Oh, get out of here. They're scoring 35 plus in this game.
I'm going to go with barely over. I might think that he might get 2.
He's going to schneid it up.
And that is all the questions I have.
I want to tack on 2 more questions to this.
Speaking of being on the schneid, this guy can't pick shit. So.
Yeah.
I want to tack on 2 more questions
He's
to
a
this.
Schneider.
Malachi Coleman's listed on the depth chart. Does Malachi Coleman?
Yeah, I'm not putting those questions up
Does
there. But we
Malachi
can talk
Coleman
about
catch
it.
a pass this week?
No.
No.
No?
No.
I think he does.
Fine.
I think he catches a touchdown. In fact,
If he's in the game,
One of the 7 that Raiola throws?
I said 4.
if he's in the game, I hope he receives a
surprised you haven't gone
handoff
up
for
to
a
6 yet.
touchdown.
Guys, this is what happens when I drink on the show for the first time all season long. This is what happens. I don't know if you go back to like the middle of the first question, something clicked, and I'm telling you, that's what happened.
It literally was because you put the under,
positive
and then you're like,
juice.
nope, over.
Yeah.
I got just enough makers in there.
Just enough Rhule in there.
The other one that I want to throw
I've
out
got
there.
more than enough Jaeger in here, so
There's been a lot of talk the last couple of weeks about penalties. UCLA comes in 18th in the Big Ten, and Nebraska is 17th in the Big Ten for penalties. UCLA is averaging 7.86.
penalties for or against?
Penalties against.
Okay.
UCLA is averaging 7.86. Nebraska is 7.5. Simple question: who has more penalties in this game?
That's not a simple question. That's a very tough question.
Well, I mean, they're basically even.
The fact that it's in Memorial Stadium, I'm saying Nebraska has more penalties in this game. Because the refs seem especially heinous against Nebraska when we're playing it at home.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a very bizarre question.
they're literally penalties per game. Nebraska is 7.5. UCLA is 7.9.
Yeah,
they're exactly the same.
No, they're not. UCLA has 0.4 more.
I'll say UCLA has more penalties because of the egregiousness of the Ohio State game.
That's exactly where I was going to go.
They're going to be like, "Hey, we'll give you one, Nebraska."
You know, it's not the same refs, right?
I know.
I
actually hate saying
yeah,
that
but
because I don't believe
review
in that bullshit. But whatever.
The replay center is the same. The replay center that should have called down and respot 2 different balls in that game is the same.
Yes, because they do that very often.
But they should.
They do for those situations.
I'm not saying they shouldn't have. I'm saying you almost never see that happen.
I think you see it more often than
you
you
do
think.
in the final 2 minutes because that's their job in the final 2 minutes.
What I would say is this. I think that after the way that game went, if you look at the couple games that have been pretty egregious, just penalty, like a lot of penalties either direction, we've followed it up with a crew that is typically pretty lax and letting them play a lot. So I think that's what we're going to see. I'm going to go with UCLA just because the Nebraska crowd is going to be loud and they're probably going to have a couple false starts that are just not able to be non-calls.
You guys are silly. Big Ten officials hate Nebraska. They're going to be calling against us.
Yeah, but the Big Ten, look at their schedule. They clearly hate UCLA too.
You know what?
Well, realistically, if you look at the game by game, UCLA has 11 penalties in the Purdue, or 13 penalties in the Purdue game. All the other games are like 4, 6, 3.
Jesus Christ.
Like, so their average is drastically weighted by the one game where they had 13 penalties against Purdue.
Wow. I'm still going with UCLA.
Okay.
That's all you got?
Yep, that's all I got.
That's all you got. Well, the kickoff on Saturday in Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, Nebraska is at 2:30 p.m. on BTN. Game time weather is supposed to be 57 degrees, and it is not going to be friendly.
It's going to be slippery out there.
Yeah, the high for the day is 60. It's supposed to be thunderstorming pretty much all day long. 88% chance of precipitation as of this moment.
We
right
might
now.
see some delays in this game.
I mean, if there's lightning like there was today, there were some house shakers out there today. So,
Oh, trust me, I was out in it.
well, yeah, you know. We're looking at a little bit of wind, 15 miles per hour average with up to 28 mile an hour gusts. It says, who knows what's actually going to happen? But well, the numbers are on the page, man.
By the time we get to Saturday, it'll be 80 and sunny.
I was going to say it could be fucking anything. I don't think 80. I think we're done. I think we're done with those days.
I don't know. It was 80 yesterday.
But
I think it's supposed to be 85 tomorrow. But
no. 58 tomorrow, brother.
Okay, well, same numbers.
Dyslexic. Got it. That's all we've got on that. As far as the Nebraska game goes, FPI has us picked as a 68% chance to win. The spread opened at 7, Nebraska. Currently it is down to 6.5. So there's some interesting betting going on. They want to see people take Nebraska on this one. The over-under is actually kind of shocking to me. It opened up at 41.5. It's down to 39.5, probably due to the weather. I don't really think the weather's going to matter in this game. I think we dick stomp them. I think we're going for 35 on our own.
I think I hate it every time you say we're going to dick stomp them.
It's going to be an easy Nebraska -6.5. I'm taking it all day, and I'm taking the over just because I think we might score 42 and they don't score anything.
Universe, I want you to ignore everything that BJ has ever said ever. I'm going to say Nebraska with the points, but I'm taking the under in this one.
I agree.
It could be like 21-7.
Yep. My big thing is I'm taking the same thought process as the Ohio State game going into it, where I said this game isn't about the scoreboard. This is about pride and the way you play. Now, I will say this UCLA game is a little bit more about the scoreboard because we better fucking win.
It's important in that regard for sure.
Exactly. But I more want to just see us control the game. Like, it could be a 12-point game at the end of the day, but it doesn't feel like a 12-point game. I think that we control this game. We dominate this game as far as the way it looks, maybe not necessarily on the scoreboard. And I agree with you, Matt, where I'm going to take the under on the total, but Nebraska with the spread, maybe like a 30-point game, maybe 30 points for Nebraska, roughly 10 for UCLA.
I don't think this is something we have not talked about enough. You guys, we're all in agreement that we're breaking the 8-year bowl game streak where we've missed a bowl game for the last 8 years.
Yes. We break it this weekend.
Awesome. I'm excited.
In Lincoln. It's broken. Call it done now.
And when we break it, it'll be the first time in 2,940 days that we are bowl eligible.
And this may be the most unbelievable night in Cornhusker football history.